Good morning, and today we're going to go over all the leaders in set 3. We're going to throw them in a tier list. I do tier lists a little bit different. It's not about S, A, B, C, D, whatever, you know. So the 4 categories that I'm going to go with are meta changing. These are leaders that you're going to see at PT or PQs. They're going to be played at a high level. Next category is we'll see wins, which means you're definitely going to see these decks around. Think like Ray. I wouldn't put Ray as a meta changing leader, but she is seen play at PQs and she's doing just fine. She's we'll see wins. Then they're okay. They're okay. These are the kind of leaders that you're going to use at, fun events and stuff like that. Free play, open play. These are going to be leaders like Luke, Chirrut. They're not bad leaders, but they're okay. Then you're going to have like hot garbage. These are leaders that are just bad, like Hunter. Not all of them are going to be as bad as Hunter, but they're definitely going to be hot garbage. Okay, so let's start with Chancellor Palpatine. So, actually, should I bring up the... I don't have that. But, so here, he doesn't have a unit side. He flips from hero to villain. Starts on hero side. His ability is action. When a heroic unit dies, you can flip him. He'll draw you a card, heal you some damage. I'm gonna put him in meta changing. He's going to be a premier control deck that is going to be extremely strong. I truly expect him to be a force of nature at some point. Let me actually bring up some of the characters here. Even though I can't get them to show up, I can at least be able to read them off to you. So, yeah. I think he's maybe one of 2 that are going to be super meta changing in this group of leaders. I'll be honest, at first I thought there was going to be a lot of terrible leaders. And for the most part, there are some terrible leaders. But there's also some extremely good ones too. And he is phenomenal. Alright, so the next one that we have is Nala C. So everybody's hating on this card. I have a difference of opinion. I do agree that there is not enough clones, but there are still enough good clones. Cody, Jesse, Hey, Echoes, Tech. There are Wrecker. There are definitely good clones. I think the type of deck that she will excel at will be a blue or a blue. I'd probably just go blue with her. This way you can use vigilance for 4 if you need to. A weird kind of soft control. So what I envision her deck that we will see her played with will be a deck that deals with 5 or under cost clones that utilize great coming into play effects or utilize some synergy with the other clones, in the early game. Get your opponent to focus on the clones because they don't want you to have coordinate, so they want to start taking care of your clones. They're less likely to hit your base if they can keep you off of coordinate. Then your job with the clones is to hold them off until you can get to the mid to late game, and then your Super Laser, Snoke, Avenger. This is where you bring out your in-game control package. So in the deck, I think you have 3 packages. I think you have a clone, an early clone package. You have a mid-range kill package. So that's going to be stuff like Power of the Dark Side, Lethal Authority, or the new blue-black kill card, takedowns, and maybe even a Rival's Fall in there. Take care of their leader. You're trying to get to turn 8. And then you're wiping the board. You're playing Snoke. You're playing Avenger. And you're just taking the win from there. But is that deck going to be good? Probably not. It's probably not. It's not going to be garbage. I don't think she's as bad as people are complaining about. So I'm going to put her in. They're okay. See if I can move this up a little bit. There we go. Okay. Padme. Let's talk about Padme. It's so bad. I mean, it is so bad. So here's her ability. Coordinate, action, spend 1, tap her. Search the top 3 cards of your deck for a Republic card, reveal it, and draw it. What does this really mean? So, all of these requirements literally say draw a card in a Republic deck. Yes, now you are choosing 1 out of 3 instead of just getting the top card. Don't get me wrong, it's decent. But even if this just said action 1 tap, it still would be bad. But this coordinate on it just makes it horrendous. Just with that alone, with the coordinate alone, unless you're doing like super fast battle droids, which you think you should, you would be doing this with clones because they're Republic and you're trying to get Republic cards from her. But clones are too slow. Getting coordinate with clones is not as easy as getting coordinate with battle droids. So the coordinate killed her. If it did not have coordinate, it would be an okay leader. It would probably go in there okay. But that coordinate is so bad, it's not even funny. Let's look at her flip side. Her flip side is she flips on 5. So she flips on Bobo's turn. She's a 2/7 with restore 1. And the same thing. Coordinate on attack, search for a Republic card. Again, if it didn't have the coordinate, it would start getting a little bit better. The restore 1 is not enough. That should have been restore 2, maybe even restore 3 at 2 health. Now, if she had 3 attack and maybe 8 defense, I could see these being restore 1. I still can't see the coordinate. Well, you know what? The coordinate's not as bad on her flip side because she counts as one of the units. So you only need 2 other units. And coordinate on the hero on the unit side of a leader isn't as bad as coordinate on the front side of a leader. Yeah, I think they way underpowered her. She's garbage. She is not going to get played, which is unfortunate because she's actually she's a character that people like. But she's just not going to do it. She's bad. Okay. We got Ajan Ventress. Now, I've been hearing some flack on this character, but I think she's way better than people give her credit for. So let's talk about her leader side. It is just a action, exhaust, attack with the unit. If you played an event this phase, it gets +1 for that attack. That's okay. I mean, it's not great. You can't use it with ambush. So, you know, the +1... But don't get me wrong. +1 can be super helpful. But her action isn't super great. It's okay, but it's not super great. Now let's talk about her flip side. She flips on turn 4. That is huge. First off, she flips before Boba. And yes, because she's cunning villainy, she's always going to be compared to Boba. But she flips before Boba. The other thing is she is a 3/4. Terrible stats, right? I get it. Those are bad stats. A 3/4/4, where I think Sabine is what, 2/5? So I guess she's in the exact same stat range as Sabine. But her ability is on attack. If you played an event this phase, she gets +1 attack, and she deals her combat damage before the defender. So let's talk about that. Now, unless you're running it against control. So let's say against, you know, you're more Sabine or even Boba Yellow. She's going to be able to attack, deal damage, and kill off characters. So when you use a surprise strike on her, which costs 2, gives her +3, and lets her attack, she's also going to get the +1 from this ability. She's going to deal damage before. That's 7 damage. She straight up kills a Boba without taking any retaliatory damage. If you have some defense around her, maybe some sentinels, or ways to keep certain things tapped down, like the new one, it costs 0, tap a friendly unit, tap an enemy unit. That's actually great with her, because it's going to trigger. It doesn't cost anything. You're going to tap down one of your droids or your crafty smuggler or something like that. Tap down their unit, and then you're going to take out one of their units. You're going to work on keeping their board small, so that way, even if they take the initiative, they're not taking her out right away. You also got to think about how you can protect her a little bit more. So anything that can give her plus health is a wonderful thing, so that way she can survive an attack and then crack back. Shields are really good with her, so yellow or blue is a good pairing color for her. And the few games that I've got to play with her, I have decimated both Sabine and Boba with her. She is incredibly strong against those kind of matchups. Where she falls short is against like Palpatine, Iden, Kiwara, those kind of decks that have blue, have a way to deal with her, or can do just massive damage. So like Palpatine with an overwhelming barrage. If you can survive the overwhelming barrage, she'll be good. You do have to think about that when you're playing against Boba Green. You know, keeping units off their table. But the games that I have played with her have been fantastic. So I'm saying she will see wins. I know that is abnormal compared to the rest of the community, but I think people are sleeping on her too much. Now, let's look at Cody. Alright, so Cody is... Action. Pay 2 tap. If a friendly unit attacked this phase, create a trooper token. Epic action. He's 5 to flip. He's a 2/6. When you flip him, you create a clone trooper token. And then he also has each other friendly trooper gets +0/+1. I think this is where they kind of screwed up on him. If they had made this +1/+1, I think he could have been an easily higher tier leader. I'm okay with paying the 2 to create a clone trooper. I wish this would have been 1. In fact, I'm pretty sure this should have been 1. But as it is now, it's sadly just okay. I don't think it's hot garbage. I think this will have some play, but I don't think it's gonna see super, any kind of competitive play. Now, let's look at Count Dooku. So Dooku's ability is action tap, play a separate discard from your hand. It gains exploit 1. Now, if it already has exploit, because exploit is a key ability that has numbers, so say it has exploit 2 and you use this ability on it, it should have exploit 3 now. That is super strong. Let's look at his other side, which is on a 7 flip. He is a 5/9. That is a seriously large backside. He's got Overwhelm, which really doesn't seem all that great on a 5/9. And he's got on attack. The next separate discard you play this phase gains exploit 3, which is huge. That means you can play certain separatist cards for almost nothing. I do think he will be good. I do not think he will be meta changing, but I think he's going to be very close. I think he's actually probably going to be better than Vash, so we'll go there. Okay, Mace Windu. Let's be honest here. Pay 1, tap, deal damage to a damage unit. If it has 5 or more damage on it, deal another damage to it. First off, this shouldn't even cost 1. It already has a requirement of the unit having to already have damage on them. The 1 is unnecessary. Had this not had the 1 cost, it might have been quite a bit better for some decks. Let's look at his other side. He flips on 7, which is pretty late. I'm not a fan of 7 flips. He's a 5/8, so same flip as Dooku, 1 less health. When deployed, deal 2 damage to each damaged enemy unit. First off, why are you spreading your damage out that much? Let's be honest here. Think of all the games you played and how many times damage has sat on multiple characters. Honestly, when you're flipping him, your average is going to be 1 unit you're doing 2 damage to. Rare occasions 2. On the Miracle Christmas Land, maybe 3. His stats aren't good for 7. And he cost resources to even use his ability. Which sadly means he goes into the hot garbage. He's not as bad as Padme. Padme's probably the worst character in this whole list. But yeah, he is definitely down there in the garbage. Let's look at Yoda. So Yoda is action. Notice the really good leaders don't have costs. It's just action tap. If a unit left play this phase, draw a card. Then put a card from your hand on top or bottom of your deck. So, first things first. This doesn't say a friendly unit. Which means if you kill one of their units, you get a scry, pretty much. It's actually better than scry because you can put one of your bad cards in your hand on the bottom of your deck. This ability is great. Now, he flips on 7, and he's a 4/9. So he's 1 less attack than Dooku, but same health. He has Restore 2, which is pretty good. I would have preferred Restore 3, just because I like Restore 3 on my characters like Rey and Luke. Unfortunately, Restore 2 is fine. We'll take that. When deployed, you may discard a card from your deck. If you do, defeat an enemy non-leader unit that costs the same or less than the discarded card. Now, don't get me wrong, I would have loved this just to say defeat an enemy unit and not worry about leader or not leader, but I understand. I do understand. I think you setting up this is not that hard. You can easily have a unit die, tap him, draw a card, put your redemption, home one, whatever, Luke Skywalker on top of the deck, then flip him and take out a unit. Granted, you lose that card. I do wish you didn't lose the card. I do wish it was a revealed like Thrawn versus a discard, but whatever. I'll take it. I think, even though he's a 7 flip, I think he's incredibly powerful. And I'm definitely going to put him in meta changing. I do not think he's as good as Palpatine, but I do think he is going to be in the top tier decks that we see from these leaders. You know what? Next one, Ahsoka. So, coordinate, action, attack with the unit, gets +1 for this attack. It's fairly bad. Like, I'm not going to lie. Again, coordinate is a bad keyword on leader side leaders. Let's look at her flip. She flips on 5. Would have preferred her to flip a little earlier, but we'll take 5. She's at 3/6. Coordinate, this unit gets +2 attack. So the first thing we're going to have to deal with is, just like on villain side, on hero side, we're going to have to deal with the Sabine effect. Is she better than Sabine? Sabine flips on 4, has -1/-1, but has abilities that work whether she's by herself or not, where Ahsoka does not. Ahsoka needs other things in play. Which, because of that, unfortunately, she's definitely not going to be as good as Sabine. I also, like, I know the red-yellow deck is good. I don't think it's that great, so it's a tough call. I want to put her in there, okay? But she will see some wins, but I think she is going to go in there, okay? Okay, Django. This one gets crapped on a lot, and I get it. I 100% get it. So he is cunning villainy. So he's in the Boba colors. He has, when a friendly unit deals damage to an enemy unit, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, exhaust that enemy unit. It's honestly a good ability. It's an ability that doesn't take an action. It's a passive trigger ability. His other side, so he flips on 5, same as Boba. He's at 3/7, same keywords, Underworld Bounty Hunter as Boba. And then his ability is when a friendly unit deals damage to an enemy unit, you may exhaust that unit. Which he enables some interesting stuff. So on his leader side, you only get to use it once. Period. Once per phase or turn. And it's okay. It's a great way of slowing your opponent down with weaker units. And also, there's plenty of units like the bounty hunter guy, the neutral bounty hunter, which does 2 damage if you have another bounty hunter in play. Good way to tap units. It also can tap leaders. And this is one of the things that I think people are missing on this, is you can keep their leader exhausted until you can find a way to kill it, or just keep putting enough damage on it till it dies. Problem is, he's always going to be compared to Boba Fett. And because they nerfed him, because Boba Fett was so powerful at a 4/7 for 5, they made him a 3/7 for 5. And that hurts. It really does hurt him. But I don't think it hurts him enough. I think he's still strong. I don't think you could just take Boba Fett out of Boba Fett's deck and put Jango and replace it. No. I think Jango has a completely different playstyle. I think you use holdout blasters. I think you use, if you're going in red, you're looking at like Fifth Brother. You're looking at Fallen Lightsaber, Flamethrower, those kind of things. If you're looking at green, you're looking at Overwhelming Barrage. You're looking at Serious Crumb. So you definitely have some interesting stuff in both sides. He's just naturally yellow, so you're looking at Bosk. So you definitely have ways to control their early game. Hell, even think Greedo. Hit one unit, flip into a non-unit, kill another unit. The damage is coming from Greedo, so it should tap him. I think he's better than people are saying. I do not think he will be meta-defining, that's for sure. But I do think he will see competitive play. I do think he has the Boba problem, same as most of the Red Hero stuff. How will he stack up against, Boba? But I think he's good. I think if they banned Boba tomorrow, which they should definitely not do, he would be meta changing. I really hope they don't ban Boba. I think people should just learn how to play against him, sideboard appropriately, but people are bad. Okay, so let's look at the next one. I'm going to have Pre Vizsla. So he is action, pay 1 tap. Deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards you've drawn this phase. First off, we start off first by saying how much I hate that it cost 1. I don't think this should cost 1. I don't think leaders should cost stuff to use their ability. If their ability is that strong, I think other costs should, maybe this is, action, tap. Deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards you've drawn this phase. Discard a card. I don't like cost. But it is a good ability. Dealing damage, and you can draw. Red has ways to draw. The problem is this doesn't include cards drawn in the regroup phase, which is why I really question, why does this cost 1? Like, I could see this costing 1 if it included the 2 cards you drew. So he literally has a Daring Raid, on a stick. But he doesn't. So now we got to think of red. What red cards draw cards? Well, they're all expensive cards. They're all cards that cost 4, 5, 6. Other thing is, why do you need to draw cards? And usually red doesn't... Card draw in this game is not as strong as it is in like Magic or, you know, any of the other games. So what, we maybe have Death Mark, which costs 2. So you can pay 3 to do 2 damage. That seems really bad. Unfortunately, I think this ability is not good. Let's look at his flip side. So he is a 5 flip for a 4/6. Notice they're still avoiding that 4/7. I guarantee you will probably never see a 5/4/7 again. While you have 3 or more cards in your hand, this unit gains Saboteur. That's actually pretty decent. While you have 6 or more cards in your hand, this unit gets +2/+0. So if you have 6 cards in your hand, he's a 5/6/6 Saboteur. I wouldn't say it's hard to get 6 cards in your hand, but it's not something that you're going to always have. I mean, maybe you will because you're going to load up a card draw, but then you're going to get swept by Sabine. If you're spending your first couple turns loading up your hand, you're going to get zapped by aggro. If you spend your first couple turns dealing with, you know, building board and going aggro, you're going to have nothing in your hand. And then on top of that, Force Throws, Pillage, K2, all of that, hell, even Poe can make you discard. All of that is going to severely hamper him. I think he had a possibility of being an incredibly strong card. I just think they fumbled. I'm going to put it in there okay. He's okay. I think Kylo is going to be better. I think another red fast unit on here, well, not fast, but decent unit on here is going to be better. Unfortunately, I think his ability is not as strong as it could have been. And therefore, that really lowered his ability. Alright, let's talk about Newt Gunray. Alright, he's got an action. No cost, just tap. If 2 or more friendly units were defeated this phase, create a battle droid token. So, it's a decent ability. It does require 2 units dying, but you're creating battle. You are creating a token to replace 1. You're going to use them in exploit decks. It's a good ability. He flips on 6. He's a 2/8, and then when he attacks, he creates a droid token. So he loses the ability to create the token from them dying. Now he just creates tokens whenever he attacks, which means he's much more susceptible to Sentinels. But still pretty good. This, in a lot of ways, in his kind of deck, is going to say, on attack, the next card you play costs 2 less because of exploit mechanics. I do think he will see wins. I actually think he's probably better than Django. Alright, Grievous, the other starter deck character. Action, tap, give a droid unit Sentinel for this phase. And then at 6 he can flip. He is a 4/8. No, not bad. On attack, give a droid unit +1 attack and Sentinel. Okay, so he is fairly good. Honestly, this is not a bad card. Being able to give your battle droid tokens, Sentinel, to make them run their stuff into your fodder instead of your good stuff, fairly good. He has one problem. He's in Bobo's colors. Is he? Well, first off, we know he will not be better than Boba. He will definitely be played differently than Boba. Is that difference enough to make him stand out? I don't know. Droid-wise, obviously there's a lot of droids in yellow. I believe there's a lot of droids in green. So now you're still looking at yellow-green. I'm not sure how many droids are in red, and I don't think there's a lot of droids in blue. I think red has a couple droids. But I think the predominant ones are going to be green and yellow, which means he's in those two colors. Again, that's super hard, but I don't think he's bad. Like, no matter how I look at it, I just don't think he's bad. My problem is, will he see any competitive style play? And I want to say yes, but unfortunately, I think he's going to end up just in front of his partner in the starter decks at their okay. But let me just say, it does pain me because I actually think he's better than all of these easily. But I don't think he's better than Django. That's a tough one. I mean, they're neck and neck, and you know, he'd be right here. So this one's really on the line between those two. Okay. Let's move to Obi-Wan. You know what? I don't even need to talk about Obi-Wan. He's crap. Well, let's go ahead and go over his stuff though. But this is honestly, he was one of the first leaders revealed, and it really set the tone for me for a while. And I was just really down on the set because he's quite bad. No, his abilities: action tap, heal a damage from a unit. It's terrible. I mean, even if this said heal 2 damage from a unit, it'd still be terrible. It's bad. It's so bad. Like, I don't even know how you could have made this better. There's just nothing. Like, again, even heal 2 would have still been bad. Healing 1 from a unit is just not a good ability. Yeah, it's just so bad. All right, so his other side is he flips on 6. He's a 4/7, so he flips a turn later than Boba and has the same stat line. He does have Sentinel. I mean, Sentinel's good, but Chewbacca's a better Sentinel by far. On attack, heal 1 damage from a unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to a different unit. Honestly, if his front side said action, pay 1, heal a damage from a unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to another unit, might have been a decent leader. This should have been his main ability. And then his on attack ability should have been heal 2, deal 1. Or he should also have like restore 2. I wish he would have been a 4/8 for 6. That would have felt a lot better. If any of these things had changed, and even the slightest, he might have been a competitive leader, but instead he's they finned him. Literally, they finned him. And the fact that we didn't even get an Obi-Wan unit is horrendous. And I know they've spoken out on it, that they're aware they should have had an Obi-Wan unit. Yeah, yeah, they really should have. Yeah, he's bad. There's nothing we can say about it. I mean, nothing more. It's just bad. It's a bad leader. Quinlan Voss. No, he's a Jedi. Cunning heroism. When you play a unit, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to an enemy unit that costs the same as the unit played. So, it doesn't have a cost, and it's a reaction ability. But again, it's only 1 damage. 1 damage is not that important. Like, it's not that big of a deal, 1 damage. As much as they put the emphasis on these leaders that do a single point of damage, how not hard, but how many hoops you have to go through for a single point of damage. It shouldn't be that rough. And this one has a requirement that just kind of sucks. And that is the cost has to be the same as the unit played. So if they have a 1 cost, say they have an R2, a 1/4, and you play a 1 cost unit, you can do a point of damage to them. It's not that good. Like, this probably should have said the same cost or less. Now, his flip side, his unit side, is a 5/3/7. Again, you're not going to see that 7/4 ever again. They're never going to do a 7/4 ever again for 5. I think they should, because right now, because they won't make another 7/4 for 5. Boba is the only 7/4 for 5, which means one of the reasons why you see so much Bobas. If they would have made him a 7/4 and Django a 7/4, like, all of a sudden you have a lot more options for that 5 flip on 7/4. But instead, because they're artificially reducing every unit to not be 7/4 for 5, they're actually making Boba more popular. So his ability is, when you play a unit, you may deal 1 damage to an enemy unit that costs the same or less than the unit played. This also doesn't require him to tap. Now, I get that his unit side needs to have a boost compared to his other side. So that's why they did this or less. But I think they should have did or less on the front side. And the boost is the fact that you can do it more than 1 time a turn, because you don't have to tap him. So if you play a bunch of, clones or something, all of a sudden you're doing 2 damage. Or you're doing 1 damage to a bunch of 2s or 1s. Which means you can take out a lot of droids. They could have made this so much better, and it's not. So I'm going to be honest here, and I'm going to put him in hot garbage. I know, it's kind of sad. I think he has the possibility to be okay. I think they just, if he had been a 4/7, or if they had made his front ability or less, he would have definitely gone up a tier. Next one is Maul. So Maul is aggression, villainy, action, tap. Attack with a unit. It gains overwhelm this attack. It's a really strong ability. His flip side. He flips on 6. He's a 6/6 overwhelm. Each friendly unit gains overwhelm. Okay. He's a lot stronger than people think. I've played with him in multiple types of decks. He is really good in red yellow. He's really good in red green. I did not play him in red blue. But honestly, if you can control the board and then save him for like your Avenger turn, when it snooks out, yeah, like you're gonna overwhelm into much harder stuff. Um, yeah, he's a lot stronger than people are giving him, you know, credit for. The fact that you can turn one play Stormtrooper, turn two tap him, attack with the Stormtrooper, hit their 3-2 and do a point of damage overrun, really good. Red has a lot of attack boosts and smaller bodies, which fits perfectly in his style. Honestly, just giving things trample is huge. And then his flip turn, like you can set it up on his flip turn where you're just overwhelming everything. And it could be extremely strong. He's extremely strong with the other red maul because that's 2 units you're overwhelming. He's great with Barrage if you're playing green. Being able to kill a unit, put some damage on another unit, and then swing in for 8 is really good. Yeah, I think he's strong. And I think he is a card that will see wins. Now we're going to go to one that I don't have as much experience with. Wat Tembar. So, action tap. If a friendly unit was defeated this phase, give a unit +2/+2 this phase. Flip side is 5 for 3/6. Wow, he's like really worse than Boba. Separatist official. On attack, if a friendly unit was defeated this phase, give another unit +2/+2 for this phase. So, it's exactly the same as his front. There's no advantage on his flip, I think. Because it's still +2/+2. If it had been +3/+3, would have been great. Or if you didn't have to have something die on the unit side, not on the front side, I would be a lot happier with. But I still think this front side is an extremely strong ability. You know, you got a couple battle droid tokens out. They kill one battle droid token, you tap him, you give another one +2/+2. Here's the downside. The action economy is bad. Since this doesn't, say, attack with a friendly unit, you're gonna give your battle droids +2/+2, sure. But then they can easily kill it outside of combat. They could run into it with a unit that you didn't care got damaged. You would have preferred to take out maybe one of their other units. Because you have to waste an action on this, it's rough. And it's even rougher on his flip side. Because even if you wait for them to take initiative, the odds are he's your only one that you're not going to have him and another unit untapped. So, unfortunately, I think that's going to throw him in the just okay. And I'm going to put him behind Rex. I don't think he's garbage. I think he has the possibility to be garbage. I would like to play with him more before I make that decision. Alright, last one we got is Anakin Skywalker. This is one that I had super high hopes for. I really, really wanted a blue Anakin, not a red Anakin. I wanted the red Anakin to be villain, and I wanted a blue Anakin to be hero. I would have loved this if this was blue. If everything about this just was blue, I would have been over the moon. In fact, he would have been meta changing, for me at least. So let's go over what his ability does. Action, tap, deal 2 damage to your base, attack with a unit. If it's attacking another unit, it gets +2/+0 for this attack. He flips on 6 for a 4/7. Again, look at that. Probably should have been a 5 flip, but because Boba scared the crap out of them, I'm, you know, they they like to say, well, we designed all these 3 sets at the same time. You know, we couldn't make any changes. We were already printing this when Boba became popular. No, you weren't. You were printing the second set when Boba came out, which is why we can't get a lot of the first set. But you weren't printing the third set. You definitely changed his cost, and I guarantee it. But even at 6, I think he's fine at 6. I feel like he originally was a 5 cost. So his ability is Overwhelm, 4/7. This unit gets +1 for every 5 damage on your base. So if you have 5 health left on your base, you're getting +3. Oh, hang on, let me do. Sorry, math. That was bad. No, yeah, no. So 15 damage on the base is +3. That's half of base health, unless you're playing a rare one, which you should not be playing a rare base with him. You want as much health on your base as possible. So yes, do not play a rare base with him. So you can get +5. So you can be a 9/7 if you're at 5 or under on health. But if you are, you're probably already lost the game. So let's be honest, the average is going to be +2. 10 damage. I think aggression-wise, he's okay. I think Sabine's better, 100%. I think Han Red is a different type of red deck than what he would want to play. Even though I think the deck that will actually work with him will be red-blue. But I do believe it will be quite a bit different than the Han Blue. Or Han Red-Blue. I think he's going to care about Restore a lot. I think you're going to bounce a lot with him. Your ultimate goal is to flip him with an Obi-Wan in play. Give him the protection. And start going to town. To take out their units and overwhelming over them. Getting heals on him. Getting heals on your base. I think he will actually fit into a very good mid-range soft control blue package. And because of that, I think he will see wins, but I don't think he's going to be as competitive. I think he's going to end up just in front of Grievous. As they're okay, but I think his deck will be stronger than we expect. So, in the end here, Palpatine and Yoda, these are the decks that you're going to see on the high-level competitive right off the bat. I think leaders that you're obviously going to see quickly are going to be Dooku. And I think you'll probably see Gunray a lot. I think Ashaj will take a little bit, but as people figure out how good she really is, she's going to see a lot more play. I think she has the potential to become the Sabine of villainy. Which means I think she has the potential to go up to meta changing. I think Jango is going to definitely see wins. I think if anything happens to Boba Fett, Jango will be the next in line to take up Boba Fett's spot. I just don't think he's quite as strong as Boba Fett, which is why he's not up here. Maul, I think, is stupid strong. I think giving things overwhelm for no cost is extremely powerful. I think it will take a little bit to see. You know, I'm even going to go back up here. I'm putting Anakin up to we'll see wins. And then I think Anakin will also win a couple tournaments here and there. I think it's going to take a little bit for Anakin to get where he needs to be, which is really why I think he's more okay right this moment. But I'm betting on the future for him. If the next set has a bunch of Jedi, which we think they will, and have some, if we had gotten an Obi-Wan 7-drop or another Obi-Wan 6-drop with him, I think those are some pieces that we're missing. But yeah, I think he's going to be strong. I think for garbage-wise, Padme's the worst. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, she's worse than Hunter. And Hunter's bad. But at least Hunter has somewhat of stat line. She doesn't even have that. Windu, I just don't think... I mean, I've already talked enough about these garbage ones. So sad about Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's one of my favorite characters, and it's just... he got thinned. I think Nala Se is going to be a lot better than people are giving her credit for. Other than that, I think I'm pretty happy with this list. You know what? Tell me what you thought. I know I'm going against what other people have, are speculating. But this is what feels right to me. All right, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.